Is anyone recording this meeting?
I can.
Thank you. So I'd like to call the Master Plan Implementation Committee to order, 7:03. So we have a healthy agenda. We're going to meet with Jed Cornock from SERPED to discuss the summary report for the Natural and Cultural Resources and Open Space and Recreation Workshop that we held on March 16th. He's going to discuss the public workshop scheduled for June 1st, the layout of the updated master plan document, additional drone flights, and then the calendar of events. One of the agenda items approved the meeting minutes for March 26th. We'll strike that. The meeting's minutes are not available at this point. And then we'll go forward with a normal agenda of scheduling the next meeting and business and then adjourn. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Jed.
Great, thank you. I'll just pass out a copy of the summary report.
Thank you.
I'll take Patrick's and Fred's.
So just like the previous two workshops, this report summarizes all of the content that we heard at the workshop itself. But importantly, it provides folks who weren't able to attend a summary of what we did at the workshop, some of the activities that we went through. And as you mentioned, the workshop was on March 16th, which was Saturday morning at 10 a.m. We had almost 50 people attend that workshop, so it was really well attended. So I'll just jump right to page 3. That's where we begin the discussion about what we did at the workshop. So we asked folks to utilize those blue sticky dots to vote on the main themes. So those main themes, we've been carrying them through this update process. We're up to 7 at this point. Based on what we heard, we'll talk a little bit about it later on, we're up to now 8. So we added an additional main theme. But for the purposes of the report, we summarized that activity. We then summarized the group discussion where we asked folks to identify key locations in town that relate to open space, recreational areas, historic or cultural areas, and what am I missing? Natural resources. And so they used those sticky dots on tabletop mapping exercise. So with that, as you can see on page 4 and page 5, what we tried to do was, because we captured 74 areas, there's an awful lot of content because we had so many people and we had 5 groups. Summarizing those comments was a bit of a challenge, but what we tried to do is put all of the dots on one map and then code them to the comments that are included in the appendix. So in Appendix C, there's all of the comments that we received, plus Zink, you're looking at the maps that we took pictures of, as well as all of the comment pads. So everything is included in the appendix. And what we tried to do on page 4 was just sort of summarize these high-level thoughts about areas that folks were particularly interested in. For example, Rocky Woods or the Howland Road Conservation Area. Betty's Neck came up several times, adding its visibility in town for cultural events, but not only that, but recreational opportunities as well. The need to improve the facilities at Clear Pond and Ted Williams Camp. Some of the folks had identified the recreational facilities as in need of repair. So the basic premise on page 4 was to bring those high-level thoughts to the forefront. The map on page 5 corresponds directly to the information on page 6 and page 7. Again, breaking it out in terms of natural and cultural resources on page 6 and an open space and recreation on page 7. So those 4 tables are just 6 of the comments that we identified from the master table, which is Appendix C. And again, everything is coded to correspond to the map on page 5. So the red dots are recreational areas, the green dots correspond to open space, yellow for natural resources, and blue for cultural and historic. So each one of those dots has a number corresponding to it. You can then reference those in the tables on page 5 and 6, as well as the table in Appendix C. But for the most part, what we heard was folks are really interested in protecting Chapter 61 properties, that especially those that occur within priority habitat locations. So, or land that abuts existing farms. So that was one of the central themes that we recorded as part of this workshop.
Let me interrupt for 1 second. Could you do me a favor, just explain to the people at home what Chapter 61 is?
Chapter 61 is a certain, it's basically a way in which you would protect forest or agricultural land. The owners of that property pay a reduced rate, reduced tax rate, in order to protect that land for its current use. So for example, if a farmer has certain area that they want to use as their current farm, they could file for Chapter 61 reduced tax rate, but also protection, until such time that they decide that they don't want to do that type of activity anymore. They could then offer it up for sale. What that happens is it basically allows the community an opportunity to purchase that land within 120 days, or
they have the right of first refusal.
Exactly, or refuse to buy that land and it goes out to the market.
Thank you.
That's essentially Chapter 61.
And they're also, they have to, when they take it out of Chapter 61, they have to repay some of the taxes.
Correct.
And that's a complicated thing in a small town.
Correct.
Because I was just looking at one that I see, again, I'm sure it's out of Chapter 61 now because it's got houses built all over it, but it's still listed as Chapter 61. So
something to look into for sure.
Yeah,
for sure, because they are paying a lower tax rate in order to hold it within that protection. And then some of the other things that we heard from the recreational side was adding additional sidewalks or adding additional opportunities to access these open space areas other than just driving your vehicle. And then coming up with a way to connect them all. So for example, Betty's Neck, connecting folks who want to be able to access Betty's Neck, but allow them an opportunity to do that without a vehicle. So those will be some of the things that we discuss in the next public workshop, because we'll be talking about transportation and circulation. So we'll be highlighting, what does the bike and ped infrastructure look like right now in Lakeville, and then how can it be made better going forward. So with that's a basic summary of what the summary report includes. With that, there's also the main themes that we talked about a little bit earlier. We asked folks to vote on those current main themes, those 7 overarching broad statements. And the overwhelming, most popular statement was the first one, the balancing future growth with maintaining Lakeville's semi-rural character, animal habitat areas, and natural beauty. Second was continue to support the current and future maintenance and creation of open space and recreation areas. So the idea with that voting exercise was really to try and figure out which ones are the highest priorities for the folks who came to the workshop. We plan to do this activity again in the next workshop to carry that theme going forward. And then lastly, on page 9, those are now, instead of 7 themes, we've added number 8, which is continue efforts to promote Lakeville's history and culture while working to identify and protect significant places and structures. So what we heard was there's a lot of history in Lakeville. A lot of folks weren't aware of it, but it makes sense to not only identify it, but then work towards promoting it and protecting it going forward. So with that, the appendix, as we've done in previous reports, we've included the workshop flyer, the sign-in sheets, so you can see all of the folks who signed in, plus the presentation from the workshop,
Awesome.
as well as all of the map work, as I mentioned before, as Zink was looking at it, all of the map work that came from each one of those tables, as well as the corresponding list of comments. So everything that happened at the workshop is included in this report.
Fantastic.
So as it stands right now, it's in draft form.
Yep.
You folks can, just like in previous meetings, you can take some time to review it, or simply take
Well, you
action
sent
on
it out how long ago?
About 2 weeks ago, yeah.
So I don't know if everybody had a chance, reviewed it when he sent it out.
I skimmed it. I was on vacation when it came out.
It's a big document, meaning file size, so
Yeah.
I had to send it out over as a link. Otherwise, you just can't attach it.
Right.
It's way beyond the size. But there's no rush. Any
I
questions?
think it's good. It's pretty up to date.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more up to date than what I expected. I mean, and you didn't just change the date. I mean, the data also changed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so.
Data. It's a data-rich document. That's for sure.
What we try to do is just take everything as if, at the end of the workshop, we just take pictures of everything and then just provide it to anyone who just is interested in learning more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
It's fantastic.
this is a good way of showing Lakeville with the rest of the stuff around Lakeville.
Right, right,
Because that's part of the picture. It's
right.
Just
You
that,
can't-
it's
yeah.
much less. Yeah.
Exactly.
And once the committee approves it, then it gets put onto the website?
Well, it's up right now as in draft
As
form.
draft,
Yeah.
okay.
And so we've made it perfectly clear up on the webpage, it's in draft form.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is not the official, a realtor can't come back and say, look,
Correct.
look what he
Right.
said, no,
Right.
forget it, it's unofficial.
We're also working on, as I mentioned at the last meeting, we're doing a summary video, and so I promised Jose that we would have audio for that summary video, and that's nearly done. So
Okay.
we'll have a complimentary way of learning about what we did
Mhm.
at the workshop.
When you say this is up on the website, this is up on your website, Lakeville's?
Correct, the
Both.
project website.
Both. Okay.
Yep.
Have we gotten an opportunity to find out, are people accessing it? Or is there a way to measure that, or is it just,
We do have a way of measuring that. I can certainly look into how many people are accessing the page. Comments are slowly trickling in.
yeah, well, the reason I ask is, this is what, at least the people in Lakeville, somebody should be kicking somebody's backside and say, hey, look, you guys take a look at this.
Yeah.
Right.
And, just being up on the website, to me, isn't enough.
So as soon as it becomes final,
Right.
we'll do that direct email as well as Facebook blasts, and we'll do everything we can to promote the
Mhm.
actual document itself.
Okay.
And you've added in all these people that signed in?
Yep.
They're all on, they'll be
Mhm.
Right. So they're
notified of the next workshop and
Right.
that the draft is up?
right.
As you can tell, I'm not interested in the next, past workshop's great, but it was the next workshop, yeah, I gotta have 100 people there.
Right.
50 more than showed up, and some 50 different people. So, that's why I wanna make sure that we get this to the community
Yep.
somehow.
Yep.
And make sure that the community is aware of it. And I'm not sure how that is gonna happen.
Well, one thing I always do after the next selectmen's meetings, Monday night, under old business or whatever, or any other, either I ask the chairman or I just tell the board and everybody on camera, that the,
You're gonna put it up on a sign up on
yeah, we have
Absolutely.
to.
I mean, it
Yeah.
seemed like that was a great way of.
That was
communicating.
awesome.
So
Do you still care? What do we want to put?
well, somehow you have to look at it and say, did you read, did you know?
right.
Okay.
These are your comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we get it right?
And did you get it right is a good way to do it,
Yeah.
Because that's gonna force somebody to think about what right. You know,
Yeah,
and force
I like
them to read
that.
it.
Did we get it right? I
Right.
think that, yeah,
You know?
I like that. That's
But we're real limited on what we can put on that sign.
Well, I understand
Yeah.
that, but, the challenge is, if it forces 7 more people or 20 more people
Yeah.
to stop and think and just reference the website or reference
yeah.
the thing, it makes a big difference.
Exactly.
I like that idea though. Did we get it right and maybe do the website
Right,
on the board too?
yeah, and force them to, I'm not forcing them to look at it, but somebody's gonna sit there and get what right.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
Yeah.
Curiosity.
What do we
Right.
care about?
That's right.
That's awesome. Good.
Because it's important. What you've got here, is a tremendous amount of work. And 99% of the people who are gonna look at it aren't gonna get past the first 8 pages. But if you look at page 7, May Steam, and page 8, those are very excellent. Those are excellent focuses.
Right.
Because then all of a sudden they know that, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about balancing future growth. And somebody better start asking about what the hell does that mean?
That's the other thing that we'll do once that document is final. Once you approve it, we then will blast out those main themes as well.
Yeah, good.
And noting that we're about a month away from, it's hard to believe that May is already here, but we're about a month away from the next workshop. We have to balance that communication with also trying to get people to the next workshop.
Right.
So, and what we'll do is we'll thin it down because it's a heavy appendix report. I mean, overall,
Yeah.
this is only approximately 9-10 pages.
Yeah, the main part is
So it's
Yeah,
a,
the
it's a
main part
nice,
is
first 7 or
light,
8
easy read.
pages.
Right.
So
But
we'll
for the people
separate.
that didn't go, to see what happened there. And I always like this, when you break out the tax rate,
Mm-hmm.
these statistics, really, I'm always quoting them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's easy to understand and it's in a font that almost everybody could see,
Yeah.
you know? Which is a good
And it's
thing.
literally the only ones that we have. I mean,
But
it's the only place we can get this information.
Right.
yeah,
Is here.
Yeah,
There isn't-
the tax
isn't
rate,
any other
everybody's
place.
always talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is the place to find everything,
Mhm.
and no other place.
Well, it's concise. It's
Yeah.
The thing that you want.
yeah, it is.
It's not gonna
Is the
anybody's
school
doing
one in here? About the schools?
The school enrollment?
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah,
I believe
that's
it is.
another one we always.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, because when we talk
Over the
about,
next couple of years, that's gonna be really interesting because we have, we're opening several developments,
yeah,
at once that are over 50 units.
And what the
That,
population,
yeah.
the 60 and over
That
population.
really
Yeah.
should show in the school,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
well, this shows who we are
Right.
very succinctly. You
And,
know,
and really that will come up in the next workshop too, because we're talking about services and facilities. So
yeah,
your facilities are your public school system. Is it adequate? What are you going to need going
Well,
forward?
that one, you hope that one draws a lot of the millennials with kids.
Right.
yeah. So the school enrollment read is
Oh, yeah, there
right
it
here.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, right next to the median income, so, yep. So I think this is good because it also gives information to the voters that, in preparation for the town meeting and other things that we vote on that have a financial impact on the town, so, which I think is really, really helpful.
And especially since tax bills were due May 1st too. And they look at, okay, where we stand in neighboring
Right.
communities as far as our tax rate.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
it's awesome.
Great. So that's what I have for the summer report.
Appreciate that.
You want to talk about the upcoming workshop?
Do you want me to put that on for approval at the next meeting?
Yes, please. Thank you.
I forgot my calendar.
Next workshop?
Sure, let's talk about the next workshop, scheduled for June 1st.
Right. 10 a.m. at the Lakeville Public Library. Be very similar to the activities that we did for the Natural and Cultural Resources Public Workshop. What we're going to ask people to do is, again, vote on those main themes. And then in our discussion groups, we're going to do another mapping exercise, except this one's going to be directed towards or specific to your transportation network. So identifying areas, intersections in town or roadways in town that perhaps may need bicycle and pedestrian accommodations. Are there specific locations that folks would like to walk to and can't? But then also identifying, perhaps there are roadways in town that have really, really bad pavement. Or I always get into a near fender bender at this intersection. So it's that kind of exercise that we'll be focused on for the next workshop. And so we'll have a sticker exercise just like what we did for the previous. And then we'll have, like I said, a report coming back based on what we heard.
I'm sorry, I left. What's the next workshop called?
Services and facilities and transportation and circulation. S&F, TNC for short.
In circulation.
Mm-hmm. And that will be the last of the element-specific workshops. The workshop after that is basically an open house where we would provide all of the feedback that we received throughout the entire time. We'd also provide the draft document itself. So that's why we'll be talking about what that layout looks like.
Which brings us to, we still need to get some updates, correct, from the boards that we met?
Yeah.
Yep.
Jed's doing that.
Yeah.
Actively doing it now.
Okay, good. Yeah, light a fire under them and do what you need to do. Yeah, because it's important. We, the collective we have put a lot of time and effort and money into this. And, the least they can do is to get us what they need, what we need, excuse me, sooner rather than later, because what we don't want to do is be up against the clock and then you're scrambling, we're scrambling, and we want to have a near perfect finished document that's accurate. And so yeah, if you could, whatever you could do, if you need my help to encourage them, as the chair, I'm happy to do that.
Sure. Yeah, I met with DPW, I want to say about 2 weeks ago now. Talked a lot about the town and some of the services they provide. So the next will be police and fire, obviously because of the specific workshop that we'll be working on. And then it's a matter of just following up on that list for the remainder.
Awesome.
Yeah, shouldn't be a problem.
Very good.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about the layout of the document.
Right. So what I brought tonight was there's two different types of documents here. We completed Marion their master plan in 2017. This is maybe just do one over here and one over
And
here.
you handed some of these out at another meeting. I know I took one.
Yeah.
I don't know if any other. Okay.
So
And
Marion.
I think you emailed them to us too.
Yeah,
I did,
you did.
exactly.
Yeah.
Marion is a full master plan, and it's laid out in portrait orientation. And we used a 2-column layout,
Yeah.
similar to the type of thing that you would see in a magazine.
Yeah.
And we think it's super easy to read, gets right to the point, lays out that implementation really well. Wareham is a little bit different. We call it master plan light. So they hired us to just do their vision. So it was essentially just the very first step of a master plan. It's laid out in a similar way, being that you have an overall goal, then you have a number of strategies to achieve that goal, and then some supportive text to aid in the understanding of what it would take to implement that strategy. The difference is that, as I mentioned, Wareham's a little bit lighter in the content simply because of what they wanted, but it's laid out in a landscape orientation. So really tonight is for you to talk a little bit about what you think is best for the final document, or perhaps just provide some feedback so that we have a general understanding.
Yeah. If we want to, I'll comment on it for sure. Personally, I find this one easy to read, left to right, top to bottom. It's succinct. It visually is appealing. Kind of sets up with the, with the different chapters. Articulates that, and then again, what we have a lot of data, and so to incorporate that into the document, I think it might be again easier. So when one is reading, and then they can flip to the next and see the data, it's a little bit easier on the eyes, I think.
I like the index on the back page.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to ask, and until it just hit me just now, is do we have documents for visually impaired individuals and/or Braille? Now I know obviously the Braille we can't with the photographs, of course, that'd be a challenge. But are there documents available, whether it's through a recording, whether this document's going to be recorded, or if it's going to be available in a different format for those folks that may need some additional help?
We can do the accessibility for the PDF accessibility, meaning that folks could have the Adobe Acrobat read it to them aloud. So we can certainly add that in. And what that means is, so any of the figures, the pictures, or any of the tables, we would simply provide a written summary. So as Adobe Acrobat is getting through the actual text, when it hits an image, it will actually describe to the person who's listening what that image is saying and what the content of the table is.
Great, thank you.
So we can certainly do that. The Braille, I'm not sure we could.
Well, I don't know how many completely, completely. I don't mean just legally blind, but completely blind people that we have in Lakeville, and of those, who actually reads Braille. I don't know. I don't have that statistic, but I just want to make sure that's accessible to all, and if not all, most. I think that's important.
Looks very similar to our police department.
Sure does. Yeah,
We
it
have the
does.
same architect.
Yep. It's really coming along.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as a group, what do you think about the visual aspect of the portrait versus landscape?
I
Have a
haven't
preference
seen-
or
I haven't seen the
indifferent?
second one yet.
There's the landscape.
So that's Did you see this one yet, Zink?
Definitely portrait.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sure.
definitely portrait. And one other, the maps that we have in our old one are readable. Our previous master plan.
Okay, great.
But they're readable by being fold-outs.
Awesome.
And if you could, at least on the important ones, and there's like one here that shows every single lot in Lakeville, which is, it's good that at least one would show that. And in order to do that, you kind of have to do it that way, because that's what scales.
Right.
So that's what, yeah.
I didn't count, but we have.
So that's a double. It's a double sheet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For maps.
Can
Sure.
we do that with our contract?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We could probably just work together on identifying which ones you'd
Yeah, I
like
was just
to have
gonna ask.
in that format.
So how many do we have total now? And of those maps, and then of those, which ones do we really feel compelled to have the fold out?
I think we'd have to go through them because, I mean, right now what I saw is one definitely not.
Yeah.
I mean, just off of the top of my head, so
Right.
it would be a discussion on each one.
Yep, so we can,
And with
Put that on the
professional
next agenda.
guidance.
yes, please, yes.
As a matter of fact, I mean, it's,
Yeah, so we can
Not
discuss
lightly
that at the
taken.
next meeting,
Yeah.
for sure.
it's a serious,
Okay.
Yeah,
it
do you
carries
want
so
to
much
vote too
information.
on the layout?
as visuals.
us to
Yeah,
vote?
we have a quorum. Do we feel comfortable voting on the layout?
Yeah, portrait's fine.
All right, so all in favor
More
of
likely to
port?
I
become
move,
a table piece to read. So,
what, Jim?
Okay,
more likely to become a table that's thrown on the table.
table
That
post,
is not necessarily convenient to read,
correct.
you know, because you're flipping up,
Yep,
trying to read and then flipping up.
yeah, and this you can hold, if,
And
you know.
this is not
you can
smaller
hold and
than
you
our
can read
current
it.
master plan. I don't think
Yeah.
this is as off-putting as a document that big.
We try to keep it to
Yeah.
around 100 pages.
Yep,
Yeah.
Again, get right to the point.
yep.
Appendix we usually keep separate, so if someone's really interested in all of the data and you know the things that just can't fit into that 100 pages, they can simply reference
Yep.
the appendix.
So Rita, did I hear you make a motion?
Motion to, move for, adopt the
Portrait?
portrait layout.
Motion. Yeah, vote on that? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Great,
All opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
great. So what we'll do is, you know, these, as you can see on the front page of the summary document. So, for example, this natural and cultural resources, the icon will correspond to the cover page.
Yep.
Where when you get to, you know, that particular section, so the thinking is, you know, when we get to these natural breaks, here, this is where we would add in those drone footage, those drone photos, to sync, you know, to break the next section and to highlight the importance of whatever we're talking about. Let's add in those really eye-catching. Like this is a drone image that we caught for downtown Wareham. I mean, it's just it came out spectacular, really nice and clear.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, moving along. Additional drone flights. Is
Speaking of
that-
drone flights,
Okay, good segue.
Yeah.
I didn't, I don't have a list of the ones that we already did.
Okay.
But what did we do around the hospital?
We did the Lakeville hospital site, the front of it, and then a bit higher so we could capture the entire parcel.
Okay, do I have it? I have it.
Yep. Yep. And it's on the Lakeville. It's on your master plan implementation page as well. All of the digital pictures. It wouldn't be included in that.
It's not in this printout, but it's available electronically, Zinc.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like
Can I
one,
see it right now?
If you
I'd
have
like
it.
one of the police station when it's completed.
Yeah. Okay, that's a
You
good
know.
idea.
When is that scheduled for completion?
Well, substantial completion is June 4th, but they're looking at taking down the fence. It hasn't been loomed and seeded yet, but we'll definitely have it before,
Yeah. What's the
let's say
latest
the
day
end
you
of
can
the
take
summer.
the drone picture
I would
to get it as part of the final document?
Oh gosh, easily November, I would
Yeah.
think.
Oh,
I'm
we got
hoping by
plenty of time.
September.
Plenty of
Yeah, so I'd like, me personally, I'd like to include that in, put that
Yeah,
in
no,
the
I think
beginning of
that's-
facilities.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's a great idea.
Absolutely. So we captured Ted Williams Camp, we captured Betty's Neck, the industrial parks,
Yeah,
Lakeville's
I remember that.
hospital site.
I didn't remember. I didn't remember what view was
Okay.
there.
We had
I remember
several.
the front view. but
Yeah, there were several,
There's a
but only the
trying
front.
to see the 79 side of.
Yeah, we didn't capture that side. We captured
We have
the
a lake there now
105
that
site.
is unnamed yet.
Did you do the transfer station?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because that would go under the facilities.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
So we did the police station under construction.
Why would you use the one on the hospital?
Why? Future redevelopment.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, they're right, this is right in the throes of it. It's just about to hit.
Opportunity area, for sure. And then we did the train station and all of the associated development around the train station.
The picture of the empty parking lot.
I was just gonna say that.
I didn't say that.
Which empty?
Oh, when the Middleborough station opens.
Oh,
Yeah.
that you folks think that's going to happen?
Oh, it was just, the funding's there now. 1,047 million.
We have fun.
1 billion,
Yeah.
47 million. And the Army Corps of Engineers has signed off.
Yeah.
All but one notice of intent. I think the new city of New Bedford had one. It was just a small item that had to be signed off on. And the funding is there now.
But the money isn't. That's just, those are just words right now.
Oh, the money's there now. The governor just made the announcement.
And that's with the South Coast
Yeah.
Yes,
rail.
it's phase one.
Yeah.
It's phase one.
Right.
But that's the line coming from Taunton over to Middleborough.
Okay.
But speaking of the Lakeville Hospital, this is a good segue. I know Derek Maxey approached a member of the planning board that he would like to, Barbara Minkowski, that he'd like to schedule a meeting with the planning board to talk about the future plans of Lakeville Hospital. And she just stopped in yesterday and would like master plan committee to be involved in that. So I said, well, that's perfect because Zinc is on the master plan committee and the planning board too. So
I absolutely agree with that. There's a meeting directly with the developer is something that has worked out badly in the past, and in general works out badly. But in this case, I don't see how to break the logjam. I mean, there's the place simply has to get started. We have a bylaw. The bylaw is for mixed use, is what it's called, and that's really a use that's used differently in different. Mixed use is used better in New Bedford itself, where you have, retail on the first floor and housing on the second and third floor, and it's a tried and true thing. You can do pretty well. It doesn't really apply to what happens here. What everybody was thinking as it was being written, though, I mean, you can sort of tell how bylaws, who wrote the bylaw and how the people felt at the time. And at the time, and I'm not sure that's changed at all since then, is people wanted to have more commercial paying the bills instead of it just being on the residential taxpayer. So the bylaw is written in favor of that. Now, it doesn't say that, but what it does is it doesn't put any restriction of any note on the commercial stuff, and it puts restrictions on the residential part of it. And some of those restrictions on the residential part right now are not in favor of the developer making a lot of money. Where if he was building commercial, the restrictions would be in favor of it.
Right.
I'm just telling you that's the backstory.
Okay. But I think,
and
haven't
so
we
you have
spoke before, though, about just that very issue about the buildings in Lakeville, whether they're commercial or residential, to keep the look and feel of Lakeville. So if a commercial person comes in, I mentioned it before about like Cape Cod as an example has very specific guidelines on the development and how a certain commercial property looks, and sometimes residential, depending on the neighborhood. We discussed that, correct?
we didn't adopt. We haven't
Yeah.
adopted.
We haven't adopted
anything.
anything, but we've
Yeah.
talked about it.
That
So the
topic
question is,
did
if
come up again, and it certainly comes up, I bet you, at every single one of the meetings that you have with the community. The community definitely believes in it.
absolutely has. So then the question that
developers hate
becomes,
it.
well, that was just going. Well, okay. So although it's not within our scope of responsibility, is our job
Yeah,
is to
it's-
implement the
it's-
master plan.
Right, it's at the planning board's responsibility.
Right, we kind of,
Or we assigned it to the
I
planning
like
board.
that. It's assigned to the planning board, so what's the logjam to even consider it? Because, you know, the people I talked to, and the folks I spoke to at the workshop had mentioned that a couple of times to me about the look and feel of Lakeville. And kind of had to deflect it a little bit and say, well, you know, we think about it, we'd like it, but the reality is it's not, you know, part of the plan right now. So how does Lakeville get that to become reality?
I think a great step is talking to Derek, because at this stage
And I'm not talking
he's
just with
interested.
Derek's property, but I'm
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
all
Oh, in
future.
general.
It's having a bylaw adopted
Mhm.
and have the planning board be the
Granting
the-
authority.
The granting
In most-
authority.
Right.
In most towns, that's the way it's done. But that, I mean, if they have that bylaw, but not every, like for instance, Newton and Weston definitely have that bylaw.
Oh, yeah, they
and
do.
they use it a lot.
Yeah, I used to work in
Yeah.
Newton, so yeah.
And definitely, you know, Lakeville and Freetown don't, and wouldn't think of it. You know, so.
Well, I
But
think-
now
We
they're
were
mentioning
thinking-
it.
Well-
They're mentioning it.
Right, so I know the
It's tough to
population,
get.
Well,
it's starting to think about it, but how do we get the bylaw? How does it instigate it? What do we, you know, what do we do to get this at least rolling to where people can vote, right? Do people
Yeah.
vote on bylaws?
yes.
Okay.
And
Okay,
the history
so-
It's a
of,
two-thirds vote.
the history
Okay.
on our 2005 master plan, the implementation committee, that was our charge,
Mhm.
was to go through. And we were very active in going to the Concom if it was their area. And I've marked up and which ones got done, which ones were no longer relevant.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you, after the rezoning, we've had the building commissioner, Jim, Bob Iafredi. I mean, I don't think any of you were on the committee. We were so downtrodden after the town, we had spent months.
I think that was my
ads.
first year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I
we
think it was my
didn't
first
meet-
year on the committee.
We didn't meet for over a year, I think.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
then this plan was becoming outdated, and we refreshed the committee.
Yeah.
And but we did do
Mhm.
this committee did follow through on a lot of it, but design review wasn't one that made it to the forefront. But
I think we should revisit
Yeah.
personally, because if we're gonna do the master plan, people are interested in this to kind of keep that look and feel. You know, let us begin then the process to resurrect it and get it going, because I think it's important. We can talk about it, but if we don't have the bylaw in place, maybe we do need to revisit it, try to get it in place. If it's the right thing to do, and if the people vote it, then that answers our question.
The issue is who's responsible for putting it on the table. We may raise it as an issue like we.
Well,
did
that's
with
what I'm
some of
asking.
the
I
other
mean,
things.
I'm ignorant of the
And they
process,
just,
so.
You know, the fact of the matter is, as you talked your way through it, it just was, look, this is gone nowhere, so.
well, hopefully it would be the planning board. If not, it can be ZBRAC, it can be the Board of Selectmen. But
It can be
it's-
almost any.
it could be.
Okay.
But it's okay. That's where Serpent comes in.
Right.
We have municipal hours. We have
Right.
different grant opportunities.
Mhm.
And if we have a particular one, like you said,
We don't have to worry about writing it, because we
Yeah.
have to pay someone to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's sitting right
but you
here.
have to find
And
one
they-
that
You
you
have to
like.
find
Yeah.
some committee that's going to take control of it.
The champion.
And try to lead it through the
Correct.
process.
Yep.
We
and-
can,
And then
And
it's
build
we can-
support.
right, we can
That's
encourage it, we can push it, we can
Mhm.
kick it down the street.
Right.
But one of those 3 or 4 committees has got to pick up the cudgel and say, okay, town,
This-
we're going to talk about
This
it.
Yeah.
board
Yeah.
could push it forward to the Board of
Right.
Selectmen, and then the Board of Selectmen can ask the
Right.
planning board to hold the hearing on it.
Then I would make a motion, if that's the appropriate form, to make a motion to do that, you know?
Well, no.
I mean to,
Yeah.
I don't mean to
Let's wait for
circumvent,
the master
but,
plan to be
No.
completed.
but you know what I'm
But I
saying,
think
just,
as part of the master plan, it should be a line item that says that this should be
Absolutely.
a consideration
yeah,
that the town is expressing interest in. That should be a line item in it, but the fact of the matter is, once it's a line item and it gets approved, then somebody has got to kick the can.
right.
And in
Because
here.
every one of those,
It
every
needs-
one of those decisions,
Right.
the problem with it is that we have a very, we don't have many zones
Mhm.
to deal with. We've only got 3 that we use at all. So if we add any things that are good for us, you know, which certainly commercial corridors are great, but you have to identify it.
Correct.
And every corridor has an abutter, an exact abutter. It's not just a theoretical one,
Right.
it's an
No, I
actual
know.
guy that
I know.
owns that. And he is going to be either upset because his wasn't included on the expensive side of the line, or because his was assigned to the cheap side of the line.
No, but if you don't kick, I
And
mean,
they-
I'm sorry.
And
but
they're
if you
tough to
just-
get through.
Right, well, this is what
It's a
we're,
tough fight
Put it
each
on
way.
the table.
You have to-
right, and this is what
a lot of
this
the
is what I'm talking about, because if we, what did you say, 2005, so that's
Yeah.
14 years ago, that there was a discussion and an idea floated.
And we spent a
and
lot of time on that.
we spent a
particular
lot.
item.
Right.
Yeah, so we sit here 14 years later with nothing to show for it.
Oh, no,
So-
you did a bunch.
Well,
Oh,
I
a whole
mean,
bunch got
There's a
done.
lot of stuff that
A
got
lot
there's a
done.
lot of stuff that got done, but I mean, when I
But
say
in this
nothing, I mean this
particular
particular
situation-
subject. Not to alienate, I'm not trying to
No.
alienate, but what I'm saying is, we're talking about it, we've been talking about it, the time for talk is over, let's take action. How do we do it? What's the right way to do it? Educate people. And again, we talked about it 1,000 times. We need to educate people. And if through the education process, and this process runs its course to where people vote on it, and there's no 2/3 vote with a good plan, then so be it. Then,
The issue, when you talk about education, people who are supposed to be helping us and make contributions to this, all of these committees, should be keying that one up, because it's
Absolutely.
potential.
yeah,
But they need to come forward too.
Yeah.
And somebody's gotta be the champion of it.
agreed.
And one of the, how we attacked the implementation is,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, they were listed high priority,
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
medium.
I remember
I don't
that.
see it in this chart.
Mm-hmm.
And the last column, it even had a dollar amount. We
Right.
estimated
Yep.
what it would cost. So I think, I don't know how, is this one,
It's your plan, so you can add in what you
well,
want.
I'm just looking at how the goals are listed. 3, 1, but it doesn't say what's the priority. So I
Right.
think we need to add
Yeah.
a column that says, and.
Yeah, I
would
like,
make-
yeah,
Because when the town adopts it, and you say it's a priority 1, then that means
Yeah.
that the people who reviewed it, the committees in town understand the relationship and saying, you know, that is something that we're going to support somehow.
yeah, agreed.
And you like the idea of adding in some sort of cost estimate, or
Well,
perhaps
that's
a,
the,
Well, the cost estimate was one that allowed people to make some judgments, because some looked at it and saw big numbers and said, forget that, that's not gonna happen. But, you know, the cost estimate for something like this, you're not gonna be able to put a real cost on it.
Right.
yeah.
But the priority is the one you wanna get, because you can always, take the priority and stick it into somebody's nose and say, look, you agreed,
Yeah,
this is a number 1, what are we doing about it?
mostly it was the cost, legal
Right.
fees, you know.
Correct.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anticipated potential. costs.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. One of the key components to that table is who is the
Yeah,
implement.
you definitely
who
have
is
to
the
lead
lead?
party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Responsible
And then-
party. Yeah.
What are some of the obstacles that you would have to overcome?
correct,
That's
I
good.
agree.
Okay. Very good.
We didn't finish, Rodney, I'm sorry,
No, please.
other drone images. What did we have, 300?
You have basically one more flight day.
One more flight day, all right, I remember you saying that.
Roughly $300.
So,
I mean, you
you've
could.
got all of the stuff around the center,
Mhm.
okay, in the northern part of, what else is in the southern side of the community that's of any interest to people?
So we got the schools. We got
Yeah.
the school complex.
Which no one's gonna build any more schools.
So is there anything up above Lakeville Hospital site, or it's just like on the front side and the back side?
Yeah, so it's really looking at the main building itself. There's 2 or 3 images that are close to the building itself, and then we zoomed out to try and capture the entire parcel.
Right.
But as you know, it's wooded, so
Yeah,
it's difficult to see that whole parcel. We could try to go higher and see if we can come down on it a bit better.
I'd like to see it from
From the other side.
Like if your drone was at the equipment rental place,
Mhm.
looking at it from
Mm.
basically the back of the, the whole back of the hospital, there's 25 acres there, maybe 30 acres of usable land.
Okay.
And it would show the pond and the wetlands too.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right. It just, on maps and on previous thoughts, I mean, we didn't think that the property was that wet, but it's pretty darn wet.
That's good.
There was, out of the 75, 25 acres were,
Okay,
Right.
well then it's, okay, I believe that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't realize they knew. I thought it was more like
but
55.
then out of the 75, they gave us 2 buildable lots for the drainage and for the cut through for 79. They
79,
donated that
okay.
land to the town
Yeah.
Wow.
for
Nice.
the satellites.
Okay.
So
Very
now it might be 68 acres total.
Okay.
Because they don't, I haven't heard any rumors about people reusing old hospital buildings.
And I
It
think
doesn't
going
seem-
back to why the mixed use came up, because the planning board, they had a development. You know, they did the zoning for the overlay district based on the Target, Stop and Shop, Chili's,
Yeah.
Mhm.
R&D in the middle,
Right.
and residential on the back.
Right.
So it's easy to plan the
Right.
zoning when you have a project.
Right. It also could have been used at Sterling Place, but not as effectively as what they did do, just straight housing. But yeah, the closer you get to people on walking on the street, the better it is
Yep.
for that mixed use stuff.
Mhm.
If you don't have people walking,
Right.
it just
Yeah.
isn't much.
Because
I mean, it's not bad, but it's just
you, Rodney and Jim might not know, right now, if you go past the back of the property, there's a single-family home built. The 2 lots after Rush Pond Road, there's 1 house lot, and then 2 house lots were sold to a developer, and he's gonna put in a 12-unit 40B.
Okay.
And then he has because he subdivided the back into residential house lots. He also subdivided Main Street side. I don't know how many lots.
Yeah.
And a funeral home is going. in.
Oh, that one, yeah. The funeral home is a nice funeral home.
Little competition.
But,
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it's a nice.
like Barbara said, is that the vision we have for that hospital property?
Right.
You know, it's nice to have a new funeral home, but that sort of,
Any improvement that adds the income capacity of the town, that's a vision. So keep
Yeah.
moving it.
Yeah. No, that's
And eventually
that would be a
somebody,
nice building, and it looks like, the style that, well,
is going to be New England style.
yeah.
New England style.
Well,
There you go.
Yeah.
Just basically what you would get in Plymouth or what you would get in Mashpee.
That'd be
On
nice.
28 or something like that, would just,
Yeah.
And New England
It's
just
for-
isn't as straight
for
front
face.
colonial either, you
and
know,
it's
it just
painted
has some
dark gray with
architectural
white
interest.
trim.
but,
And
but the
it
more
looks
people you
fine.
put around that hospital building, the more people will try to find uses for it. Because
Right.
I hate to see empty space.
That's right.
It's not generating income for them.
Yeah.
And you want
Developers.
and you want that places that make money because
Let
it
'em build.
raises the.
Yeah.
Let them build.
All right.
One area of town we didn't get was the 44 strip. I mean, it's really small up in the northern section,
that's
but it might be worthwhile to try and do
industrial.
that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize that
Yeah.
that's Lakeville,
Yeah.
Oh, it's
you know?
I
I-
think
I-
that's
yeah,
a good
we
idea.
have some. There's some nice development going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Farrell bought out the Farrell national operation bought out the people who ran the storage, and now they're going to be doing a bunch of indoor heated storage. Not exactly heated, but it's a lot
Environment.
better.
Climate controlled or environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sushi.
But they're making
And
it
the
bigger.
sushi place,
and you
yeah.
can't see
Saga.
it from the building. You can't see it from the street. You can't see it from anywhere. It's just income.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it just
It's awesome.
Like extra space storage, you know, up there, Rainham, extra space storage,
Mm.
where I have all my storage stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
That's good.
The other thing might be some agricultural lands. I mean, we didn't do a whole lot of that in that first flight.
Did you do the Wilkie Farm right here on Schobel, but right on Route 18?
No. So that might
Both
be-
sides of the road there.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
It's, yeah, because that's,
That's the first
Everybody-
APR in the state.
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yep.
everybody knows the Wilkie Farm.
Might be a good place to.
79.
Now known as the Elliott Farm, so.
Okay.
But for those of us who've been around a while,
And
it's,
the Roach Farm wasn't long after the Wilkie Farm, that
Yeah.
on Highland Road.
yep,
But now that's been, she passed away and there's been Setauket Trail built, you know, so
Well,
some of the
speaking
land,
of that, is that going to be on there?
yeah,
It'll be this.
if everything's done.
Okay, well, I
Yeah.
didn't see.
Subject
all-
to the planning board's
Cool.
comments to follow through on what
We'll be all right.
Franklin had
Alright.
said.
Any interest in Island Terrace? I know that's been
We didn't do that to begin with?
No, we only
No.
grabbed Betty's Neck. We didn't do Island Terrace. I mean, we have sort of that, what do you call it, the Narrows or the
Yes, but,
Yeah.
yeah, but we didn't grab Island Terrace itself. But again, I don't know if it's up to the committee if that's something that
it's a unique feature.
we're particularly interested in.
yeah, it's a historical property for sure.
Still up in the air what's gonna happen with it.
Quick, take a picture while you can.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't realize it was historical.
How
It's
could
like-
it got built in the 50s? That's not historical. That's
You know,
current.
I'm just being a wise guy.
That's
Okay.
current.
Well, I mean, you have an opportunity to add to it too. So
Okay, but
Um,
that gives us some more.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And
Okay.
we'll let you know. When
So I'll
we plan
put that
to fly
on the
back.
next agenda?
Yes, please.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you.
With what's happening with nursing homes in the area. You know.
Oh, I know.
I have some clients down in Highland Terrace and Fall River.
Well, you know about the user fees now, that the user fees are putting a lot of them under.
Yeah.
Island Terrace was $250,000 a quarter, $1 million a year
Yep.
in user fees, so that they could get paid
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Medicare.
It's one of the reasons why I got out of the business. I was a nurse. I was a licensed nursing home administrator, and yeah, they don't make it easy. So, but all right, so that's good. So we're all in agreement about the drone, about the drone images. Do we want to segue to the next agenda item, being calendar of events?
Sure. The next event that we have scheduled to pass out more promotional materials would be at the Ted Williams Camp. So either May 11th or May 18th. We'll be on a Saturday morning. We'll be there from approximately 8 a.m. roughly to 1 p.m. just handing out that material
Great.
during the soccer and Little League events. So I'm going to be working with the Recreation Committee to identify a good spot because it's a really big site.
Yeah.
I've driven it a couple of times, and so I have some potential ideas. But if anyone's got any,
I'm thinking for all those fields, the karate studio is
Yeah, right out front.
the restrooms are right there too. So,
yeah,
Captive
there's
audience.
a little bit of area out, a free space,
There is.
between.
Yeah, because you got the
The
karate
base-
studio, and then you got the fields to the
Baseball
left.
fields,
You got the
soccer
baseball,
fields.
soccer, all kind of like right there, and everyone beelines to go to the.
It'd be nice if the refreshment stand was operating, because everybody uses that, but that hasn't been in operation for years.
Hmm.
So that's the next table event, if you will. You still have one more table event opportunity. So if you have an event that would make sense, I mean, I have one of these calendars that I printed out, but we've loosely identified potentially doing the Arts and Music Festival again. We're asking for permission to do that. I got a lot of activity at that previous event, and that would line up right before the next open house, or for the last public workshop, which is tentatively in October.
Because a town meeting is June 4th, the Monday after the next public workshop. If it was a little bit earlier, that would have been good. But I'm thinking we'll probably have a fall town meeting.
Well, you would know.
Yeah, I think there's, after free cash is certified.
Mhm.
We've put off some capital requests until the free cash comes in. So is October too late? That would, when is gonna be the open house?
So we tentatively have it for October 22nd, only because we picked the date on the calendar. That's
Yeah.
a Tuesday. So
So
It won't-
maybe if we scheduled a special town meeting, well, I won't be here, I'm retiring. But,
Try to say
What are
that
you trying
without
to tell us?
smiling.
yeah, public, I would put it to then my predecessor.
well, you'd have to pick between the arts and music or town meeting.
I think,
the
well, and I
festival
think
would-
you had better luck at the,
The festival was
Festival.
great,
Yeah.
especially the location that we had. We just had a ton of people stop
Mhm.
by.
And we just pray for good weather.
There's that. Sure.
okay,
If you have good weather and good turnout, you'll.
yeah.
And I
Let's
want to
stay with
say
that.
she may be accepting applications, so I can look into that.
She'll be away for a couple of weeks. so-
Okay. Gives me time.
Yep,
Okay.
And like I said, the next, the open house would be sometime in October. So we would
yep, that would be
wanna-
good timing.
one, identify potentially a new site. It may be worthwhile to consider the elementary school, only because we'll be rolling out all of the themed, so you'll have all of these themes in stations. So we'll have staff at each one of the tables to encourage people to come up and read that section, and we'll have copies of that particular section, so we can not have it all happen at one location. They can go to each one of them. So we would need a
Yeah.
big space.
We held the last open house at the new middle school, I think it was. It had just opened.
Okay.
But that end of town is more difficult. Assawamsett,
Yeah, it is.
it's got the huge gymnasium.
Yep.
The
Centrally
cafeteria is
located.
not
In
as
the
big.
fall, you
Center
have
of
a police
Lakeville.
station.
That one won't be, the training room wouldn't be big enough. Because we're hoping each workshop, we double
Right.
in
Yeah.
attendance.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I mean, if we double
So-
what we had at Natural and Cultural, that's going to be a tight room at the library.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
that one.
that was.
And it would be
just
nice
enough.
too for those attendees if they could tell a friend.
That's
And,
the thinking.
that would be awesome.
Because now we have all these new people too.
Yep. Sure
So
do.
I would have to, if we came up with the date for that, then I'd have to start coordinating with
Correct.
the principal.
Mhm.
So, Saturdays have worked pretty well, but again, October generally, let's see, fall sports, there's really not a ton going on in October, is my memory.
Soccer
Soccer,
Fall
yeah.
ball.
fall ball, football.
and football stuff.
Could you get away with a
Field
Saturday or
hockey, is
Sunday?
that in the
No,
fall?
Sunday would be difficult.
I
No
think
winter
if,
sport.
I think if you did the Columbus Day weekend, it would be difficult because
Right.
people go away.
Yeah, they,
Right. There's all sorts of other activities that are happening.
Yeah.
Closer to action.
So you could do a weekday. It's really up to you. You've also got time too.
Do we want to table it and
Well,
let's-
why don't I call the principal first
Yeah.
to see if there's any Saturdays
Yep.
in October, or
If not a Saturday, what might be the best date for the
Weeknight.
school?
right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So the best spot would be Assawamsett. And then if you can't do Assawamsett, would you consider
Um,
doing?
well, Ted
The middle.
Williams, you can't because that's booked now for weddings and everything else, and we have to
In
pay a
October, I
fee.
would imagine that
Yeah.
would be popular. Will the police station have? No, they
No,
probably
not
wouldn't have a
big
large.
enough.
Okay.
The garage would be big enough.
Just put one station in each jail cell. You know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, now you're thinking
Open house at the jail.
It's a huge garage.
captive audience.
Open house at the station, let everybody go through, and as they visit, they can.
Comment on the master plan.
I get jiggy when I get locked up.
Are you leaving these behind, or do you want to
Those are
take them
yours
back?
to keep.
Awesome.
Yours to keep.
Does anybody want to?
No, I'm fine, I've read it.
Nope, good. Yeah, it was awesome. Okay, so,
Do you want to
Okay,
take them?
Can I have this one?
Which
Yeah.
one, Marion or Wareham?
Uh,
Take one of each.
Yeah.
feeling generous.
Thank you.
Show it to the committees that you're on, say, look,
I was
this
just
is
gonna
where
say that, hey, look what I have.
this is where we're headed, folks.
So,
It's just,
if we can get back to that discussion, depending on what, the meeting scheduled with the developer of Lakeville Hospital, you know, do you want me to reach out to the members if you're interested in going?
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll let me know when that happens?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna be away the 11th of May through the 18th in Myrtle Beach. See a
Oh,
friend
too
of ours.
bad.
I don't know. No,
Customers?
no, a friend of ours passed away and his wife is
Oh.
down there, so we're going down to visit with her for.
We just got back from Charleston. It was already in the high 70s and 80s, so enjoy the weather.
Yeah, Arizona hit
Yeah.
90 this past weekend.
Yeah, a friend of mine from Arizona called me. It's getting a little warm out here.
Not here. Yeah, right.
The gravel pit down on 18 across from
But Master's old place?
from Lakeside.
Yeah. Did
Are
I
they
hear
still
that?
operating?
No, they haven't been operating. And
Oh, you mean,
did they?
I know what you're talking, Southeastern,
Yeah.
as was the name of it, yeah. I heard Sandpit, I used to,
I can't remember either. I remember.
bought
I know what he
Landers.
looks like,
Uh,
but I was just
I don't know if that's sold recently.
no. I just it's industrial.
Yeah, it is.
yeah. Okay.
So we wouldn't want that in our overlay.
And that's
Terry Edwards. That's
Edwards.
his
Yeah,
name.
yeah,
TL.
yeah,
T.L.
That's right,
Edwards.
TL Edwards.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's right there. Good
I
job.
know.
But it's quite a few.
So and all the names I have in my head are the old school ones from when I was a kid, so it's all good.
That'll fix Nate.
Okay. So,
Oh, scheduling.
so agenda item, if Jed is all.
I am finished.
And everyone, any more questions? Okay, well, thank you again, as always.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna strike agenda item 2, because the meeting minutes are not available. Skip to item 3, scheduling the next meeting. And what are we looking at?
Well, it should be just before the open house, the workshop, I mean. Do you need
I would.
us to meet again
Um,
before that?
It's
I would
up to you.
consider it.
Or
It's completely up to you.
wait and meet?
Don't forget that you're planning to adopt or approve the summary report.
Oh, yeah,
so
so
it
you
would
do,
probably be
yeah.
good.
I think we should meet before that. And so,
The 21st is the night before Serpent's annual meeting.
Mhm.
Jed, is that a conflict for you?
Nope.
Oh, well, we're May 1st, so maybe, well, I'm open the 21st or the 28th.
excuse me.
And you said you're away till,
I'm away the
18th.
13th through the 18th.
okay.
You want to shoot for the 21st or the 28th?
21st, either one of those dates is fine with me.
Okay, same here. Zig?
Yeah.
You?
That's a which month?
May,
21st.
the 21st or the 28th?
Tuesday.
I'm good.
Okay.
Either one, pick one.
For me, I guess, yeah, the following week is the day after Memorial Day, and I'm getting ready for the town meeting. So,
Right.
So you want
Yeah.
to go with?
First,
21st, 7
21st?
PM in this office.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the difference, for instance, of the
I
old
do
way
like
with a
our-
folded
I
One.
do like the,
and the single sheet.
Mhm.
It's basically twice as big as far as the detail goes.
Yeah.
and it
so
helps.
Zink, you'll pick out which maps you want to
Well,
open out.
yes, and there's one we're working on, with
Isn't
the
that-
water resources and the gas resources.
Because
Right.
the maps are the most expensive part of the plan, right?
Yeah, I
pretty-
mean, they can be, but
But
most
now
of them
it's
are,
better.
they're already produced anyway,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's just a matter of printing them on 11
I just remember.
Oh, the first time around, it's horribly expensive, I'm sure.
Because it's
But
a
now
lot
it's
of.
all in GIS.
Yeah.
Right.
They're basically using GIS stuff.
So if I could, I just want to, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just bring up this. So we've put together right now, this is our services and, well, our working draft of your services and facilities map. It'll have more in terms of the actual facilities. But right now, what we've identified for your gas network, based on the meeting that I had with the DPW, they were able to give me, you know, some of the gas lines in town. Now, what we've done is we've just basically created an area for your gas service, simply because of we've run into that proprietary issue with the gas lines. Now, I can certainly reach out to Columbia Gas and identify whether or not they would have any issues with us actually showing where the gas lines are, or we can just play it quote-unquote safe and just do this is your general area where you have gas service. So it's really up to you as the committee to determine, you know, what kind of time you want me to spend on that.
I mean, for demonstration purposes only, could this be, this will be for the next workshop?
Correct.
We could tweak it to be accurate afterwards if we want to, but I think for demonstration purposes only, I don't.
Because we shouldn't put where they are in the master plan here, right?
No,
No?
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't.
it's available, and if people
This
have
is
questions.
just a general, yeah.
Just a general area.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Because
water and
I know
sewer is a
100%
little.
for sure that
But just make the,
doesn't have gas.
yeah.
Right.
Can I see that
Right.
for
But
a
that's
second?
only
Zane?
one block of one street.
Yeah, I know it doesn't have gas because we were.
So,
Right.
when you say gas
couldn't
service,
get any of my people on the street to vote for it.
yeah, so
Likely people
this
don't
says
want it.
gas service on it, Jim,
Right.
Yeah,
right?
Well, that-
And this is just a guesstimate?
yeah,
Do we
Yeah.
want to just make it as an attorney, I mean, should he make a disclosure like,
no,
Approximate.
approximate or any terminology to say, okay,
you got it on the line, you got it from who?
Department of Public Works.
Thank you, go back.
okay,
That's your resource. You don't
Yeah.
have to, you know, if
Okay.
you want to put behind it in parens DPW or whatever,
Okay.
you know, that may, you know, identify the source, but no, you don't have to.
okay,
Yeah, whereas the
Approximates.
water lines, that's obviously different.
right.
Right.
Water and sewer
Yeah.
lines.
As long as we have any answer, we know it's DPW, anyone questions, yeah, it's pretty deep.
Put parens behind it, DPW, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Yeah, and so the other map that we're working on, I mean, this is just for display purposes, but
Yeah,
identifying where your facilities are.
yeah,
That's all.
Yeah,
okay,
perfect.
Well, you don't go into too much detail because if people want to see the more detail, you know, look, just, this is
yeah, that's,
an overview
yeah,
provided by the DPW. Thank you very much.
yeah. Have a
But
nice
then you
day.
gotta explain it, oh yeah, then you gotta explain, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, which we don't want, we just
No,
wanna.
that's not our job.
Yeah, exactly, that's, okay, well, that's excellent, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we have the date for the next meeting. So, is there any other business that may properly come before the meeting?
I brought it up earlier, just about,
Yep,
having master plan go to the planning board meeting on Lakeville Hospital.
yep,
That's all I had.
what is that?
They haven't scheduled it
Oh,
yet.
okay,
Yeah.
no, whenever they're ready.
yep,
As long as
perfect.
I'm in town, I'll do it.
And then, agenda item 5, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you.
All right,
All in favor?
all in favor, aye. You got it, thank you so much, and.